a common question and concern that I hear from certain disease communities has to do with the use of a placebo arm in a clinical trial. And not all trials have placebo arms. In fact, in some cases, in rare diseases, you see fewer placebo arms these days than maybe you even used to 15, 20 years ago. That said, there are still instances where a placebo-controlled group is utilized. And what I would say to those families is, while the thought of participating in a trial and not getting access to the investigational compound is, I think can feel sort of wacky. Like, so I'm going to do all these things, but I'm not going to have the benefit of doing, all these sacrifices and all this emotional, turmoil about should I participate and the things I'm giving up to do so. But there's a reason that a trial has been designed to have that placebo control. And, in some cases, for instance, in more slowly progressing diseases, it's actually the only way to show separation and potential benefit from the treatment is to follow people who, in a moment in time, one has the intervention and one doesn't. And they're similarly matched and have similar disease characteristics. And what happens after 6 months? What happens after 12 months? Do you see a split, or do they stay the same course? And so placebo-controlled trials, I think, can be very emotionally charged topics, but have a lot of utility in diseases that are otherwise, variations of diseases that otherwise can be very hard to actually show impact over time. I think some questions that often come up with placebo-controlled trials are, how long is the placebo arm? Would I have access to the investigational treatment after a certain point in time? And these are things that you would want to speak about with your physician and with the trial investigators to really understand the use of the placebo. Sometimes there's also something called a rescue clause, where if someone's in the placebo group and at a certain point starts to have rapid deterioration, they can sometimes get access to the investigational treatment. And that can sometimes provide comfort to trial participants that if all of a sudden things really start advancing, for some reason or another, there may be an opportunity to actually access the therapy. And again, these are also trial specific, but just examples of the types of questions a family would want to understand when thinking about participating in a placebo-controlled trial.